Were you at the symphony concert? All of you were? Okay. Wow. So you saw a French horn for sure. Okay, fell on the floor back there.
How long have you been playing trombone?
I've been playing trombone since I was in the 3rd grade. That's a long time.
And he's not saying how.
Yes, ma'am.
Was that the Pink Panther song?
That was the Pink Panther. Yes. Okay.
How long have you guys been playing?
In a group? Well, we've had Quintet in Ukiah going for, what is it, a couple of years? 3 years? Almost 3 years, I think, that we've been playing together. Yes?
How come you guys don't have a saxophone over there?
Well,
Yeah.
you could have saxophone. Like, I know there's a group that plays in this area that is a saxophone quartet, and they have an alto sax, and they have a tenor sax, and they have, I think they use a soprano and a bari. Yeah. But the reason we don't is because the brass quintet is usually written for the instruments that are using mouthpieces and blow-in, while the saxophone is it's a wind instrument like us, but they use a reed to make the sound. It's woodwinds. So they're just, you could make a group, and you could form a group and have any instruments you want to play together. It's just that we happen to like it sounding the way with the group that we have here, so that's what we use. Yes?
What was that thing you put in the trumpet? Mute. Yeah. You guys mute?
It basically muffles the sound. You put a mute in, it sounds like this. And then there's another kind of mute, it's called a harmony mute, which has this funny thing on it. So apart, it sounds like this. They all sound different, just make the trumpet sound different. You can also stick your hand in the front of the trumpet like a French horn and go. Do that. They have a plunger, you do that with also.
There are different ways of making the instrument sound a little different to help you make music. Yeah.
And I have a question for the trumpet. Why do you press down the balls halfway?
To make it sound kind of cool like that, or you go. So you do kind of like a trombone, but we don't have a slide, so you have to fake it. When you do half, it only lets half the air go through half the pipes, and the other half goes through the other pipes, and you kind of move it around. Because inside of these valves, there's little routing holes. See those holes? And when you push them down, it routes the air through different places into the trumpet, which makes different lengths of tubing, which makes different notes. So when you push it down, it makes the tube shorter, and you pull it up, it makes it longer, and you have 3 of those that change it and move it all around through all these different places.
All these are things that help make more sounds and add more interest to the sound, so that when you make music, it doesn't just sound like somebody just blowing on the horn. In fact, musicians use all sorts of ways to make different sounds and extra sounds and more different sounds so that they can make the music interesting. Yes?
How many notes can you use in one spot?
How many notes can I do in one spot on the trombone? Well, let's see. We can start down at the very lowest. There's another one up there someplace. So you make quite a few notes in one position. See, the trombone, when I'm playing it, basically it has 7 positions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All the notes you make are in those 7 positions, but as you just heard, I can do 5 or 6 or 7 different notes in each position. So there are lots of notes available. In the middle.
How many different types of brass instruments are there? A lot.
Well, I don't know. There are various instruments. There are all kinds of trumpets. There are smaller trumpets and there are bigger trumpets. I think there's a trumpet called a bass trumpet. And there are piccolo trumpets, which are little bitty guys that play really high. There are different sizes of tubas. The French horn is probably only one horn.
Well, they have doubles and triples.
Okay, those are different.
This one is called a double horn. It has an F horn and a B flat horn mixed together.
And trombones, there is a bigger trombone that I'm sure you've seen. If you were at the symphony concert, you saw the fellow who was demonstrating the trombone there. He had some extra stuff going on here and a trigger so he could switch that in and out. There's a bass trombone, and there's also smaller trombones that are only about that long for the whole trombone. Yes?
Why did you decide to play the trombone?
Why did I decide? Well, that's a question that people ask, and everybody probably has their own story on why. But I saw, when I was in the third grade, I saw a trombone player on television playing. And for some reason, I just really thought it sounded great, and he was having a lot of fun using the slide and making all kinds of strange noises. And I thought that looked like an instrument I'd like to play. So I started playing trombone. Yes?
Curious about the difference between a cornet and a trumpet.
The cornet has a little bit shorter tubing. It's a little more mellow sounding. And it's interesting because Gary actually has a different trumpet, but